Hey everyone, it is, I guess, time for another review. I'm going to start with the fact that there will be spoilers in what I discuss, but it shouldn't be a major spoiler. I still suggest that you watch the movie before this, and it is available legally on Netflix as it is a Netflix original film. Very rarely do I find myself enjoying an anime film this much. Normally I prefer short shows or really long ones because they take the time to develop their characters and their stories so that I can relate to the characters and their slow, gradual change that they all endure, that I endure. When I first saw A Whisker Away, I, truth be told, was not paying a ton of attention. I was working on filling out the Pokédex in Pokemon Sword, and I was supposed to be reading subtitles, so I missed a few things the first time around, but I loved it even more the second time around. It is pretty common for movies like this to follow a certain pattern. Set the norm, acknowledge the threat to the norm, conflict, then resolution. That is a majorly reduced pattern, as there are intermediary steps along the way, but I want to talk about what occurs in this film in between the threat to the norm and the conflict. We are met with a character, Mio Sasaki, best known as Muge, who is really energetic and a loving person who is also somewhat creepy because she has been stalking the boy she likes, Kento Hinode, best known as Hinode, as a cat that Hinode calls Daru. When Muge is a cat, she can spend time very close to Hinode and learn about him in a creepier way than stalking someone on Facebook. But they bond as a pet and an owner, and that sounds creepy as hell, I know, but just know that it is a good, friendly bond. However, when Muge is a person, Hinode just sees her as the somewhat annoying, energetic, and crazy girl that will jump off buildings into trees to defend him, and also embarrass him and hurt herself in the process. Muge is to him a bold character that he reveals he wishes he could be like because he feels like he can't speak his mind to his family, and Muge feels the same way about speaking her mind to him and learns he feels like this while being a cat. Now, a quick recap. How did she get the ability to change into a cat? Another very important character, the Mask Seller, best known as Mask Seller. Okay then, the Mask Seller gives people cat masks so they can be a cat, and if they choose to remain a cat, he takes their lifespan and adds it to his own. We aren't clear on his intentions early, but those are his intentions. The Mask Seller is shown really early in the film, constantly surrounding our protagonist, Muge, as a haunting force, and we know she is afraid of him, or at the very least doesn't like him, is how much she avoids him, but the Mask Seller keeps offering her the chance to be with Hinode for the rest of her life, just as a cat. Muge has been hurting for a while because of the constant rejection from Hinode. Her mom left her, abandoned her, and she now has a stepmom, which is, I guess, a little bit more taboo in Japan than it is in the United States, but nonetheless. She faces a lot of rejection from Hinode, who mostly just ignores her at this point, and the occasional bullying of her and her feelings from other classmates, who likely just ship Muge and Hinode. Muge seems to be able to shut it all out and maintain her smile, even if she does not always feel like smiling. She tries to be happy, but the pain of rejection is very present in her, and the temptation of staying as a cat is very strong because it means that she will finally be accepted by Hinode. It is the easy route for her, or so she thought. After Muge confesses to Hinode through a very sweet, cheesy letter that was read aloud by the aforementioned bullies to those present in the class in the morning, Hinode, wanting the embarrassment to end, the badgering from the bullies, and sick of a few things at home going the wrong way, hits his own tipping point and tells Muge that he hates her. Muge still has not quite given up yet. When she is a cat, even though she is now hated as Muge, goes to comfort Hinode as usual after school. And unbeknownst to Hinode, when he realizes he actually does appreciate Muge and all she does for him, standing up for him and being a smiley, cheerful face, practices his confession on Muge as a cat, not knowing it is Muge. And Muge, not knowing that the confession is practiced for her, and thinking Hinode is just saying he really loves her as a cat, thinks that Hinode will only ever love her as a cat. This is when Muge finally hits her own tipping point, and she cracks when she wakes up late for school the next morning in Hinode's bed, still as a cat because this movie is PG and not a furry film. She is still beyond that tipping point, where her decision does not feel up to her, but just a result of her situation. And the constant temptation from the Mask Seller comes back when he again offers her the choice to stay as a cat, and she chooses to stay as a cat. And at first it's great, but she soon realizes that the people who care about her are concerned about her, and she is quickly losing the ability to understand other humans, making what she traded her human form for no longer worth it to her. The film does an excellent job of bringing us to Muge's tipping point and her crucial decision that she must now seek to undo. But what I want to focus on is this tipping point, because I think it is important for everyone to keep in mind, especially if they suffer from a form of mental illness, which only makes these tipping points more important to recognize and understand. The fact of the matter is that once we go beyond this tipping point, wherever we may be, our decision is likely not to be the right one. The film does a good job of showing this and representing that you cannot really ever know when someone is near their tipping point, and how it can also have a domino effect. The temptations, even if we know they are bad ones, when we are sane and not quite at our tipping point, become incredibly enticing once we break. There are very few movies that are able to show us this tipping point well, because tipping points are led up to, and A Whisker Away shows us the lead up to Muge's tipping point by making cat life more rewarding and human life more painful. But it also tells us this in the resolution: once the tipping point has been reverted, no matter how painful life gets, that life is your own and worth more than 9 lives as someone or something else. Thank you for watching.
Hey, so if you enjoyed that video, again, thank you for watching. Um, but let me know if you want me to make more reviews in this style, or if you like the older style where I give numbers. I actually think this was a little bit more of an analysis, but I don't know. I like the movie.